going on, Noles Nation? It's your boy CJ Wilson, part of Roll Up Network. Let's go ahead and talk about the season. We're at the bye week, 7 games in. Let's talk about the second half of the schedule and the first half of the schedule and put it all together, baby. But before we do that, make sure you guys like and subscribe, man. It means the world to us. Like and subscribe is free. It takes a second out of your time. Go ahead and do that for us. Like and subscribe. All right, Noles Nation. We started the season pretty hot, 4-0. Won our first 4 games. Then we went on the tough streak with 3 ranked opponents and went 0-3 within those three ranked opponents. So pretty much you have a tale of two halves, right? A 180 from the beginning of the season to the second half of this, to 180 from the first game of the season, to the mid 3 games of the season. So after this bye week, what do we do now? First, we got to get healthy. We get Fabian Levitt back for the Georgia Tech game. As you guys know, that was a big loss for us after the LSU game. We won that game, but it was a price we paid for it, and that was at the discretion of using our best defensive tackle and probably our best defensive player overall. So to get Fabian Levitt back and just kind of short the defensive tackle depth room, because we know we've been pretty much hurt in there, right? We have Jared Jackson. He's been hurt at the defensive tackle. Malcolm Ray, he's been playing hurt. Even though he's been playing, he's been nicked up and banged up. Robert Cooper, he left during the NC State game, the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken. He had Fabian Levitt. So what was a strength of our defense in regards to the defensive tackle room turned to a weakness real quick just by injuries. So we get those guys back at this portion of the season, and I think we should be pretty good. I think we'll be favored in every game except possibly one game in regards to the point spread for the rest of the season. And if you look at the ESPN game predictor, it also says that also. I think we're favored in every game. Well, we have the higher percentage to be favored in every game aside from the Syracuse game. I think by the time we play Syracuse, they'll come down to earth a little bit, playing some better teams and better competition. So I do believe that will change once we get to once we get to the Syracuse game. But on the remaining portion of the schedule, I feel like the last 5 games are pretty similar to the first 4 games in regard. Well, let's say the first 3 games. I'm not going to count Duquesne, but the first 3 games you have LSU, Louisville, and Boston College. I feel like the last 5 games are pretty favorable to those. We have Miami, who hasn't really lived up to the expectations that we had coming to the preseason. Pretty much disappointing so far. They haven't been playing good football, so I think that could be pretty favorable for the Noles. Even though it's a rivalry game, I think Miami is going to get up. I think overall and pound for pound, FSU has the better team. And if you look at a team like Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech they really aren't that good as well. They fired their head coach early in the season. Got a little bit of life with the new, well, not say new, the interim head coach. Got a little bit of life, but if you look at the teams that they played so far, nothing to scare you. Nothing that'll scare you, right? So I think Georgia Tech should be a pretty good win. Should be a good win as well. Then we move on to, after Miami, we have Louisiana. So I think we have Syracuse. I think that's going to be the tough one. We go up to New York. We go up to the Carrier. We go up to the Dome in New York. We know that's pretty tough playing in Syracuse. Just a tough road environment. I do think Dino has done a really good job with his team this year. They were projected to be last within the Atlantic division. They were projected to be last in the Atlantic division during the preseason. They're pretty much one of the better teams. But I do think that they're kind of going down to earth. And to be completely honest with you, I just don't think they have the manpower to pretty much go toe-to-toe with us. I think we could win that game. I feel like it'll be a tough one. Maybe a game we won't be favored in, just depending on how they do the remainder schedule. But again, I think we could win against Syracuse. Just from a talent standpoint, I feel like we have more talent than them. Moving on to Louisiana. Louisiana was a pretty good program under Billy Napier, but I don't feel like they're that good as of now. Billy Napier did take a lot of those good players with him to Florida, and all those players also hit the transfer portal and hit elsewhere. He did a great job of building up that program, but once he left, a lot of those guys pretty much left with Billy to Florida or elsewhere. So I think that'd be a pretty good game, and I also think that'd be a good game to lead up to Florida. Kind of it worked out perfectly, to be honest with you. This is pretty much like a JV version of Florida. I think they're gonna be running pretty much a lot of the similar stuff that Billy Napier did run while he was at Louisiana, that he's currently running at Florida. So to have them prior to the Florida game, I think that bodes well for FSU, just to get the practice for what the scheme and what Billy Napier will be running at Florida once we play them. So again, last game of the season, we had the Florida Gators. It's going to be a night game in Docama Stadium. You guys know it's going to be raucous and ruckus. It's going to be a really good atmosphere. looking at what Florida has done so far this season, their defense can't stop a nosebleed, right? Jaden Daniels had 6 touchdowns against Florida. We saw what Jaden Daniels did against Florida State. Granted, that was the first game of the season for FSU. Excuse me, for LSU rather. But Jaden Daniels didn't impress me that much to say, hey, we're going to give a 6 touchdowns to this guy. I think that we can run the ball on Florida. I think we can do some things on Florida. So I think that'd be a pretty favorable game for us. Anthony Richardson is a guy that does scare me due to the fact that he's a running quarterback and he can use his legs. 6'4", 235-pounder, runs a 4.4. As you guys know, mobile quarterbacks has given FSU and Adam Fuller some headaches within the past, so that'd be something to watch out for. If Florida does want to win that game, I feel like it's going to be predicated on what Anthony Richardson can do with his legs. And also their offensive line and their running backs. They have a pretty good offensive line and pretty good running backs. And teams have been able to run on FSU during the early portion of the season. But like I just stated, Fabian Lovett has been out, and we've been nicked up within the trenches in regards to Jared Jackson, Robert Cooper, and Malcolm Ray. So by that time in the season, late November, I think we have pretty much everyone healthy on the defensive line unless something happens, Lord forbid, moving forward injury-wise. But I think going forward, we will be healthy enough to slow down that run attack for Florida. So I like FSU in that game as well. So my prediction was 8 wins to start the season. It looks pretty good for 8 wins now, so we'll see how that plays out. We got the real tough 3-game stretch, even though I think we should have won 1 game for sure, and that's NC Tech, and possibly 2 games in Clemson if we don't do boneheaded mistakes. But again, that's over. We're 4-3 right now, but I do feel like the last 5 games of the schedule is pretty favorable for FSU. As long as you do what we're supposed to do, we should be okay in those games. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Like I said, it means the world to us. Like this video now and subscribe. Go Noles, and it's the Roll Up Network, baby. Hey, what's going on, Noles Nation? It's CJ Wilson. Want to give you guys a special message. Make sure you guys tap in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. We're going live on our YouTube channel. It's the best thing going right now. We have special guests depending on an opponent for the week for Florida State, Florida, and Miami. It's a really good vibe, so make sure you guys tap in with us. And also, every Sunday, I repeat, every Sunday after games, we're going with No Cap Sunday, and it's a recap of all the games we played within that weekend. Pretty much it's church. It's time to repent for the sins and lies you told for the previous week and take an honest look at your program and get things going. So make sure you guys tap in for the big show on Wednesday and for No Cap Sunday on Sunday morning. It would be good to go 12 p.m. for the big show, and No Cap usually around 9:30 to 10 a.m. We'll get that information out to you guys bright and early prior to No Cap, so don't worry about that. But again, like and subscribe to this video and be on the lookout for the big show on Wednesday at 12 p.m. and also No Cap Sunday. No Nation, let's go, baby. It's the Roll Up, it's the vibes.